Namaste Savigo. Today we have Mr. Dushyant Gupta with us. He is a product manager at IDFC First Bank and he has completed his MBA degree from IIM Vishakhapatnam. Adding on to it, he is 2 times gold medal winner from IIM Vishakhapatnam as well. So this is a lot to mention about, and we'll get a lot. We learn a lot from this person because he has a lot of achievements, and this brief introduction is not at all enough to actually acknowledge everything that he has achieved in his life, right? So the mic is all open, sir. Anything that you would like to talk in your introduction, then we can just begin with the podcast.
Growth, consistency, idea, reality. It all begins at one point. Here. Want to know how the industry works or how to build yourself? Learn from experienced people from the industry. Subscribe to know more.
Thank you, Manish, for the kind words. Thank you for having me. So, yeah, as you mentioned that I recently graduated from IIM Vishakhapatnam and I gained 2 gold medals there on the all-rounder and securing bank. And apart from I'm working as a product manager in IDFC Bank, and I'm looking forward for the podcast and to interact with you and gain something from you also, since you have such good experience. So it will be a mutual learnings.
Sir, I'm not that credible. First of all, I'm very thankful for just being here at the podcast. And मेरे को लगता है कि बहुत बच्चों को ना बहुत सारा value add होगा आज from this podcast system because जो experience आप carry करते हो ना, every single line that you will talk about will carry some takeaway for the students, right? और जो कि हो सकता है काफी सारी queries solve कर दे बच्चों की directly, right? So we'll just begin with the podcast and अपना ritual follow करते हुए. So the first question is that what is your story? What is your experience? Just give a brief about it. How is the story been till this point?
So, it was, I'll not say a dramatic story or something. So, as a boy from a small town, I live in Faridabad. So, from there, I actually joined Delhi University for chemistry honors. So, in 11th, 12th, I was very, fascinated by chemistry subject. So, I decided to do an honors in that subject. Later on, life took a drastic turn. When I was working, I was promoted as a team lead also. So there, I thought that I can be a good manager also, along with a good chemist or a scientist. So then I started preparing for CAT, and there I came in IIM Vishakhapatnam. And after that, completing, I am here in IDFC Bank. So talking about the journey, yes, it was challenging most of the times, and sometimes it actually hits you sometimes, but you have to sail it through, right? That's the rule of the life. There are some storms that will be engulfing you,
right,
but you have to stand strong and just go through it. So mine was like that only, and I just want every person who is listening to this, I just say one word: don't be afraid what comes to you. You'll pass it through. I can do it, so everyone can do it.
Right, definitely correct. You just need to have a strong will to actually conquer everything, every single problem that comes in front of you.
Yeah.
Right, and I believe the reason that you stated just now that just provoked your interest into the product management field when you were just promoted, right? You just got the exposure of the industry at that point. So anything additional that you would like to say about this thing?
So, in my previous pre-MBA experience, I was working as team lead. So there I learned that I'm also very good at people skills. I am good at managing people, and I learned a lot from that job. So that made me to do MBA. And while I was pursuing MBA in my first year, I developed a fascinating interest in strategy and finance. And Prodman role is near to strategy only. So that's why I actually took strategy and finance as my majors and minors, and there I landed in product manager role.
Your profile is a bit more diverse. As in, earlier, like your undergraduation is a BSc in chemistry, right? And then you further moved to MBA, right? You prepared for CAT, you cleared CAT, and then you got into IIM, right? So, it's a really nice journey to just listen about, right? But the thing is that the scenario would have been very different, right? The thoughts would have been very different while you were just, deciding whether I should do MBA or not, right? So, what is the story behind switching from the undergrad to very different field management?
So story was when I graduated from Ramjas College University of Delhi, I was sure that I'll not directly jump into post graduation in chemistry.
Right.
I actually wanted to see the corporate world, the real world, where I can work and apply my skills.
Mm-hmm.
And as most of the people also know that if you're a graduate from Delhi University, you'll get a decent job. But from a science background, you have to little bit do a little bit more notch to get a job. So luckily I got it. So again, I repeat, like when I went there, I actually thought like I can be a good manager also. And like my life is simple funda, like where I am, I have to excel that. So it doesn't matter that if I'm doing a chemistry work, if I'm doing something, a science work or a commerce work, if I'm learning something, I learn it and just excel in it.
Right.
So that's what happened to me during the job time also. So I was there as a team lead. I learned a lot from my manager, and I learned from my colleagues, the people who were in my team. So I learned a lot from all the stakeholders, and that made me to decide let's give a shot to the cat.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
like you mentioned a very positive point, that was that everyone should have this learning attitude, right? Like,
Yeah.
whenever you just move further to a certain position again, when you're promoted or anything happens in your life, right? You should have this positive attitude to learn from that particular situation, because that's how you incorporate the right, the right environment into you. That's how you just adapt to the particular environment, right? So that you get the exposure of the particular thing. So, really great insight from you about this, the certain takeaway that you just shared, right? Now, let's just talk about the product manager role that you're on, right? So, any three skills that are, I believe, the most necessary ones that any product manager should definitely have?
So apart from the domain knowledge, like I would say that for to be a product manager, of course you should know all the domains of the business, right? If I talk about academically, for example, you should know finance, you should know marketing, you should know how the different stakeholders work, you should know operations.
Right.
So see, you are working for a product. The product is the point of the company. Like it plays a pivotal role in company's P&L and balance sheet, right? In even the company's market shares and company, how the shareholders perceive the company. So the product is something which keeps revolving all these stakeholders.
Right.
Okay, all the other things are secondary. For like, if I think that other things, if I think of it, the company does, but if you have a good product, you are just a top notch higher from the other competitors, right?
Right.
So to be a product manager, I told you academically you should know finance, marketing, every domain of the business. But for me, the skills you require, yes, of course, strategy, strategical terms, strategy, how you can apply strategy framework, yes. But first, you should have good communication skills, because you will be, dealing with different stakeholders in a product manager role. You will be dealing with the sales team, you will be dealing with the finance team, you will be dealing with the marketing team, you will be dealing with the operations team, or like there are many stakeholders that you have to work with, and it's not an easy task. You have to give the requirements and you have to complete their requirements also. So second thing is be creative. The customer being so dynamic nowadays, we heard the concept of segmentation in marketing, right? But now every company is doing so much personalization. We are now introducing the term micro segmentation, or we are also introducing the term that there should be no segment. Every customer is different. So we cannot make a homogeneous group from a heterogeneous customers, right? So you should be creative in those terms. You should understand what your customer is. You should put the customer at the center of your universe. Otherwise, if you are failed to understand the customer, your product will definitely fail. So you should be creative in those things. And the third thing is, since you will be a liaison between many teams and many data will be flowing to you. Okay, so you should have good data analysis thing. Data analytics, you should know how to analyze the data, how to make a clear story of the data. That's very important. For example, if I tell you, a stock grew by 37% or a stock, lost its value by 3 rupees. Okay, so in both scenarios, you could create a good story or a bad story also, right? So you should know what are the trends are. You should analyze the data. You should think beyond what the data is saying. and that what is necessary in the current world, in the current business world, where if you are able to crack that minute second and the minute detail of the data that is being in front of you, you are a leader of the organization and you are the leader of your life also. I
Right.
do feel like that. So the three skills is communication skills, I told you, and
Creativity.
the creativity, and the third one is this, the data analysis is
Analysis.
very, very important.
Right. Like a really good message by you as well, and really good takeaways as well. That every person who is into product management should incorporate, or who are targeting product management should incorporate. Well, not specifically product management, मतलब the broader हो गया मतलब ये category, right?
Yeah.
मतलब who is targeting any professional role should have these three common skills, because हर जगह पे काम आएगा. Right. Okay.
But for a product manager, it is actually required. It is a basic.
Okay. Yeah. Acha, so when you're actually brainstorming for a new product, right? As in when you're trying to build a new product from scratch. So what approach do you follow for that thing?
So as I mentioned that, for every company nowadays, customer is the focal point, right? So whatever upgradations we are doing, whatever activations we are doing in terms of anything in a product, it is coming from the customer only. So first of all, you should have a definite problem statement. Right. For example, if we take an example of trains or something, so you have to build trains, right? First, you have to understand your customer. So what kind of trains they want, what kind of upgradations you can do. Then you should analyze your competitors also. What are the competitors giving right now, right? What else you can give from the competition? Do you think that you have enough resources and capabilities to build those products or not, if you have thought of? And right now, have you heard the term of design thinking, right? Like design thinking is everywhere. Like, for example, from a big organization having 3 lakh or 1 lakh employees to a startup with 2 team members, all are using design thinking. And it's an excellent concept, and I should promote here too. So the concept of design thinking is also near to co-creation, where you are sitting with the customer, you are understanding the needs of the customer, you are empathizing with the customer, then you are defining the problem statements in a manner where the customer is also, customer will come with a problem like, I'm not able to do this, but that should not be the problem, right? A problem is a much more refined version of what customer says to you. So that defining the problem statement is very important. There is a saying also, like there can be 1,000 solutions to something if you get the correct problem statement, right? So it is very important to understand the problem statement. You have to define that. Then you have to idealize that. So how you give ideas to that, you have to give the wild ideas. You have to think out of the box. You have to think what the current organizations are not doing, because that's the only secret of succeeding in life, like succeeding as a business person in life, I would say. When you think out of the box, if you are still being stereotyped, and if you're thinking in a box where your thoughts are limited, to the business world, then the world will go away and you will be left behind.
Right.
So I would say that think of the ideas that no one has thought of. And we have a 1.4 billion population, and all Indians are so intellectual and they all have good ideas, right? So we can see from our daily life also, we are so jugadu in nature, so we are actually doing that. And that's why this product manager is taking so much lead in India also, because these roles were used to be in international organizations, or the Indian subsidiaries will be working on the side by works. But nowadays these things are coming into India. The organization, the MNCs and the other companies are also thinking like, yes, we are capable, and we are actually capable. We are Indians are at the highest positions of almost the good organizations, right. Be mobile or anywhere. So idealization is very important. Then you build prototypes, you do testing. So these things are important. So there is a concept that this I was telling you in terms of design thinking. So companies are using design thinking. and it is actually helping. So design thinking gives you the most affordable solution,
Hmm.
or a solution that is being cherished, and that is actually a solution, not a solution for a long term, for a short term things, but it is a long term solution that the design thinking does. So
Hmm.
it's a good concept.
Right. Really great takeaways from this answer as well. Actually, आपने बहुत छोटे से आंसर में you just summarized a lot of things. You just summarized the
Yeah.
whole workflow. So, अगर किसी को जो भी वीडियो देख रहे हैं अभी, if you didn't understand what he just tried to mention, just go back 3-4 मिनट पीछे जाओ and just listen to this answer again, क्योंकि it has a lot of value to it. And just carry on. Just make notes out of it. कुछ सीखने को ही मिलेगा. लिख लो इसको. Right. So you mentioned about testing. Right, that what emphasis does testing carry while you're just developing the product, and also we can just have a slightly molded perspective on this question as well, that how actually testing is beneficial on personal level for one individual as well, that how testing can actually add value to you.
Okay, so I'll give you a basic example. Like when we used to go to school, or we have final exams or midterms.
Right.
So our mom always used to give a pre-test or something for before the actual test, right?
Right.
So that actually helps us to see how much prepared we are,
Right.
right? So this is the same process that we follow in organizations. Organization do first, testing among themselves, among the employees. Then it goes to a little more macro level. Then the macro level, then it is released. So there are various ways of testing a product. And also, when I was talking about the design thinking, you were empathizing with the customer, then you were ideating,
Right.
then you were defining and ideating and prototyping and the test. These are the 5 stages of design thinking.
Definitely.
So when you were the customer, that was the last stage in the first stage. Now, when you have built the prototype, testing is very important. Then you have
Right.
to go back to the customer and say that this is the product that I have made, or this is the feature that I have added. So is it really solving a problem or not? So, anything you can build in this world, right? But if it is not well tested, it is not well approved by the customers, by the stakeholders, it will go into vain. Right? For example, everything get tested in life also. If we go somewhere, if you, like, for example, I play badminton and go to buy a badminton racket, I actually test that product there. Right. Customer does that before buying. Nowadays, customer has options to do the testing of the product, because there are a lot of
Options.
retail stores or something where the product is being showed to the customer. Before that, it was very conventional method where you cannot touch the product, or it is just packed, or a photo being showed to you. But nowadays, nothing is happening. You go to an Apple store, you go to Vijay Sales, or you go to anywhere. Products are being light there. You can use it. You can use for any time, right? So the customer is actually taking a lot of time for understanding your product, for testing whether it should be good for me or not. So the same company actually does. So whatever, for example, if I'm launching a product, I'll be, doing the testing among the closed employee group, among the teams. Then I'll distribute somewhere in the nearby things. Then a little bit more macro level. And there are a lot of analytics related to it. So you have many S curves, like, I'm not going into the detail, but there are many analytical tools which helps you, because there are, so for example, if there is a drug being into the market, so there are A/B testing, there it goes, or we find the confidence intervals. You can think of the recent example, the pandemic that has happened.
Right.
The vaccinations, they used to say that it has cleared phase 1 trials, phase 2 trials, or something. So these are all kind of testings, right? So, and they have certain confidence intervals. Companies have certain benchmarks. Okay, if the product reaches this benchmark, then it is being approved by the customer.
Right.
So testing is actually a whole team that is doing, and it is a whole dedicated team, and companies take it very seriously. Before launching it to the main market, companies take it very seriously, because when the product is live, then it can hamper your brand equity also. You can hamper the image of the company also. So a lot of things are at stake if you do not do the testing. So testing should be there, and I have told you how it is done.
Right. and totally understandable. Whatever you mentioned is quite accurate enough, and based on your experience you have mentioned this thing, and this is quite prevalent in the industry. Like anyone can observe this thing, that how actually the process is being carried out, right? So this is how it is happening. All right, so the thing is that every single step that you mentioned earlier in the previous answer and in this answer, it all summarizes to a perfect product or the successful product, right? मतलब अगर आप ये सब follow करोगे तो it will build a successful product, right? Now, to achieve the product goal that you have set, right, you must have applied some approach, right? मतलब वो तो जो दोनों questions थे पहले वाले, it gave us a brief overview that how actually is the process, right? Now, what is the approach if you want to achieve the set product goal?
See, like if I'm building a product, right? So first, my goal will be like I delivered like whatever I'm thinking I should deliver it in terms of features, in terms of what customer is asking. So again, like the customer is a focal point. You should deliver what you have promised.
Right.
Second, is it financially viable or not? Right. For example, if you're building something, a very well-known gadget for toothbrush or something, but if it is $10,000 or something, and someone is not buying, so it should also make sense that it is financially viable to make. It is operationally viable also to make.
Right.
For example, it is using some rare metal or something, and you are importing it from very long distance or something. So it should be operationally viable also. It should be financially viable also. Okay. So there are various things that you have to consider what your P&L will look like. So what will be your penetration? So for example, if you are launching a product, we think that, okay, first year maybe we should do this market share, second year maybe we should do this market share. So there are various benchmarks. So we have built the product according to the customer. Yes, customer have liked it, but it should reflect in our revenues and the bottom line also. So at last, the company is doing for all the shareholders that have invested in the company, right? So whatever we are doing is, whatever our organization is doing is because we have to, show a good bottom line to our shareholders. So it should reflect. I should not launch, for example, if I'm launching a laptop or something, I should not launch a laptop like, okay, like four people, some people who actually need that laptop, but okay, I can go niche also, but it should not be like that. Okay, I'm building the laptop, I'm doing something, but it is not reflecting the P&L. Right. So there are various benchmarks, financial benchmarks also. If you are building something which actually takes a long time to make. Okay. So for example, you have a long throughput rate and time.
Right.
So and the demand suddenly increases. Okay, so customers have the tendency to shift that also. Shift from your product also, right? So there are a lot of things you consider before launching a product, and what are your benchmarks. So all these things are being cleared into your mind as a manager. So these are the things.
All right. So that's quite understandable overall. So the thing is that how is actually then the success of a product measured? Like how actually are you measuring the success? Like based on what parameters, and how is it actually happening?
The success of the product is measured primarily from the customer. See, for example, first is your market share, right? So are you, there is a growth in the market share of the product or not? More customers. See, if you're launching a product, if you have heard of, there are various types of customers also.
Right.
There are early majority, there are late majority, there are early adopters, there are late adopters.
Right.
So these are various types of customers. So first you target the left hand side of the customers, right? So you again, I said that you have a benchmark, right? So the success related to the market share, the sales, the customer rating, and is like, for example, some companies are doing as a loss leader strategy, or they're launching the product as a very low price and then increasing the price, or versioning of it or something. So there are different types of strategy how you launch a product. So the success of the product is measured in those parameters, considering that strategy. For example, if I'm launching a product which is having a loss leader strategy, it means that I am selling it at a very low price, then my profitability will not be the issue for 1 or 2 years, right? Because this is something I have done as a strategy, as a corporate strategy or something, business strategy, right? So then my market share, because if I'm selling it cheap, or like if I'll not say cheap, but if I'm selling at a low price than the
Right.
competitor or the existing products, then I think that my market share should rapidly increase, exponentially increase. So there are parameters different to the strategy that on which you are launching the product.
Right. So
So that's it.
the five forces are always into play while you're actually targeting a product, right?
It is always. So
Yeah.
there was a professor in IIM Vishakhapatnam.
Right.
So she taught us, strategy. So
Right.
when there was porters class, I'll just reiterate her words. So she said that as a manager, you should know your porters every minute
Right.
of your
Right.
business,
Right.
and
Definitely.
every minute it changes. It changes actually.
Right.
Okay, so because again the world is so dynamic, the things are changing.
Right.
Some reports are coming to an organization, they are losing wealth by 68%.
Right.
I don't want to name the
Yeah.
company. So there are various lot of things that are coming, and there are many rules and regulations that are coming. See what happened to Paytm, right?
Yeah.
A regulation by the RBI, the stock price decrease. So a lot of things. You have to keep all the pestle forces, the porter forces
Photo poses.
in mind while
Mhm.
developing a product, while working in an organization, and everything you have to
Yeah,
keep in
it's
mind.
all a component of the business environment, right? Being influenced
Yes,
by n
yes,
number of
yes,
factors,
yes.
like the internal and the external factors, and there is much
Your
more added to it.
strategy is
Yeah,
something. Your strategy is something. These are the broader forces. Then
right.
okay, I'll strategize. I cannot strategize before leaving those forces. Then I'll be in silos.
Yeah, the success will be hampered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so like uh, as we already discussed till now, so everything then just redirect towards analysis and data-driven decision making, right? So that's how actually we can just minimize the possibility of a failed product. Right. So,
Hmm.
what importance does data analysis and data-driven decision making carry in while building a product?
So first of all, like I'm a person who actually encourages failures. So failures teaches you a lot of things, right?
Definitely.
So it's not about every time you'll get success in life. So you'll fail 8 times, and the ninth time you'll get a success that you'll forget the last eight failures, right? And failures definitely teaches you a lot, and you
Definitely.
have to think what went wrong. So again, like I'll not say a lot of hit and trials goes in an organization, but we do fail as an organization, as a managers, or everyone has failed in life. That is, see, success cannot be determined, but you should know that you will fail one day, right?
Right. Definitely.
So like even you have a failed product, you should work on it, what went wrong, and then you have to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like the emphasis of data-driven decision making on the
So yeah.
step.
So coming on the data, so whenever say, right, we have to take the customer as the focal point, and we
Right.
have to take. So this is not like I'll be talking to 100 customers, right? There is a data associated with it. So for example, if I'm launching a laptop or something, so I'll take the data. What are the needs? So these are the things. The data is readily available. I'll do primary research. I'll do secondary research, market research. I'll do. So all these are data. Okay, there are a lot of journals, there are a lot of research paper that has been written on AI, on green energy, on sustainability.
Right.
There are a lot of research paper. If you look at, there are sustainability in the crude oil refinery things also.
Right. Hmm.
So a lot of things that have been done, and this is all data, right? So you have to see, and you can collect your own data also. That is the primary data. So
Hmm.
these all the data that are available. Then you have to work on these data, how you can refine the data from crude data, how you can make a meaningful data, what analysis you can do. So there are various analytic tools also,
Right. Hmm.
using R, Python, Tableau, whatever you can use. I'm just naming few. So
Right.
then you analyze them, and then you take a decision. So whatever the decision that is being taken is through data. So, but I'll say that there is always not all 100% data. So there is
Right.
something known as hard data or soft data.
Yeah.
So hard data is something that is in front of our eyes, but soft data comes from our experience, from
Right.
our a CEO that is 18-year-old in an organization or 20-year-old in an organization must know few things which is not reflected in the data,
Right.
right? So
Hmm.
that skills, also comes along with it. So a lot of data analytics is actually being played in a product manager role.
Right. All right. So now we have already discussed the whole product life cycle, and the like how to actually build a product. What is the successful product? How is data involved in like building a product, right? So we already have had a brief about that how actually the process and the workflow is being carried out, right? Now let's move to the student aspect of your journey, right? So any takeaways for the students that how like what all skills are actually relevant for the students that they should actually build while they're in their college life?
So, like for the student, like during MBA, like a general gyan I'll give first. Like there are a lot of things you'll get overwhelmed with because MBA life is actually hectic.
Right.
So, but just be focused. You should know why you are here and what you have to do with your life. So that really helps,
Hmm.
right? Because there are a lot of obstacles in your life,
Definitely.
but you should be focused.
Hmm.
And second, talking about the skills, like I mentioned that if you want to go into a product manager role, you should know the strategy. You should know the various aspects of the business domain. So if you are in IIM, where we are, where IIMs allow you in the second year to take electives, you should take mixed electives, right? From the marketing, from the finance, from
Right.
operations background.
Hmm.
So as a product manager, you should know everything. So you should know you have to choose everything. So in terms of academically,
So, what are the top skills that students should actually focus upon when they are in their college life, right? Any takeaways that you would like to give on this topic?
so to be a product manager, right?
No, for students who are in their college life right now.
So general skills, I would say that like when you are in the B school, if I talk about, so there are a lot of things that will be happening to you, right?
Right.
So for example, you have club committees, you have your academics, which is very, 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 very hectic. You have placement seasons going on.
Right.
So the advice that I will give be is just to be stay focused. There will be many a times when many balls will be hit to you,
Right.
but you have to keep your mind focused.
Right.
So that focus nature has to be there through the 2 whole years, I would say,
Right.
because there will be a lot of stuff that will be going the college time during MBA. And you have to prioritize your stuff, you have to prioritize your friends, you have to prioritize your academics, you have to prioritize your clubs, your placements, everything, whatever you are doing there, right? So you will learn how to prioritize things, how to plan your day better.
Right.
Okay, you should have a good sleep, but unfortunately, you will not be able to get enough sleep in MBA,
Right.
right? So that is there always. So the skills that I will tell students is like, build on your profile. If you are in the first year, if you get to know that okay, I'm good at finance, build on it.
Right.
Think whatever you have to do. Think of the companies that are coming into your college, right? What are the companies coming into college? What are the profiles? If your college has a profile of investment banker, if your college have a profile of a risk, think about the risk. Can you do an FRM certification, which it can land you to into that job or something else. For
Right.
example, if there is a advisory from mergers and acquisition thing, like if you choose an elective of mergers and acquisition, can you land into that job or not?
Hmm.
So there are a lot of things. Think like start making firm decisions about your career in the first year only, I would say.
Hmm.
Yes, some students take time, and I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's okay to think along it because that will be your future. That will be doing for the next 40 years, right? And there
Right.
is no turning back.
Hmm.
Then you cannot move from, after 10 years from operations to HR or something.
Hmm.
So start analyzing where your interest lies. For example, if your interest lies in marketing, see your last year's placement reports.
Right.
What are the types of companies come? If there are some brand, advertising companies coming up, you have to work on your creativity. You
Right.
have to work how you think. You have to take electives that leads to brand management, product management, that leads to something. If you have a retail, marketing companies coming up, you have to think how to set up a retail store. You have to take those electives, or if those electives are not being floated in your college, you have to take some courses or just understand the notion basis of it. So
Mm.
start making firm decision the first year. Start thinking where are you going in your life. Like those baby steps, no, right? When in second year, if you don't decide that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, then it actually creates a lot of problems in a placement.
Right.
For example, like it's okay also to take a mixed profile also. For
Ah.
example, in second year, if you are taking strategy along with marketing, finance, it's okay because there are companies also which actually take a general management students also. But you should know what are you doing. You should align your interest along your career goals, along what companies come into your college. So start thinking of those in the first year only. So that advice I'll give to the students. Also, like I would say, have POR. Do like in MBA, just don't rely on academics. I would say, join a club, join a committee. You will learn a lot from there. You will learn a lot. Like I can guarantee you learn a lot. So join extracurricular activities. There are dance, drama, sports, a lot of things that are going into the B sport.
Right.
So join everything. Like not everything, but don't be just into academics. You
Right.
should do case competitions
Mm.
outside.
Mm.
You should do many things. You should be doing many things because these 2 years of your MBA will be a holistic experience, will be a holistic learning. Should be an
Right.
holistic learning.
Mm.
Should not be academic learning also. So I would say that for all the students who are joining B school or who are in the first year or who are in the second year, like plan your time wisely. Plan what are you doing. Like obviously you should have fun also in life. That's most important. Like if you like, you know, all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. So like think of like that. So you should not be, you know, emotionally damaged. You should not be mentally damaged. You should have time for yourself. You should
Definitely.
have your inner peace time. You should have time with your friends. So everything you have to plan.
Mm.
So planning about life, planning about a single day, you should start doing that.
Right.
And everything, and trust me, everything will align in your place.
Right.
And second thing I would say is be punctual on time.
Mm.
Okay, so I don't know you have noticed or not if you're giving me a time anywhere, like we have talked two times before also. So be punctual,
Right.
right? Respect your time, people, you respect others people time, people will respect your time also.
Definitely.
Yeah, so be disciplined about, you should know that the Samne wala person who will be meeting is a disciplined person and you should be like
Right.
the key take. I always say this thing, we all unique in our ways. You are very unique, I am very unique in my way, the way I behave, the way I talk, the way I have experienced my life, and you have experienced life in a completely different manner.
Right.
But what makes us, as a single unit, as a human being, I do feel like is these the basic hygiene things, discipline,
Right.
mannerism and all that. So
Mm.
these things make us as a single unit. So I do feel like
Right.
that most of the generation nowadays, think that it's okay to get late or something. Yeah, it's okay, but you should respect other people's time. So
Right.
these three things, planning, discipline, all these things you will learn eventually if you don't want to learn. But if you learn before the things are being hit on you, so it's well and good for you.
Like, what I believe, the answer that you just now gave to the question which I asked, like इस जैसा description एक college life का कहीं भी YouTube पे available नहीं है. Honestly telling you, मतलब this is the whole summation of it, right? Like
Yeah,
while enjoying your college life, do the following things, and that's how you can just excel in your life, right? So like fabulous answer. That's what I would say. मतलब बहुत
thank
अच्छा
you.
आंसर. बच्चों को काफी कुछ मतलब जानने को मिला होगा. जो भी freshers में ना they could, और जो भी कॉलेज में है वो तो बहुत अच्छे से रिलेट कर पा रहे होंगे. Honestly. So like amazing answer. That's what I would say. I believe one point was missing. That is building the right network, right? So anyways, any takeaways that you can give on this topic, right? That what's the
So
right way of networking, right? So yeah, just you can just carry
so
on.
like Like I actually, like, pardon me for saying all this, but networking for me, like the definition of networking, how things work nowadays is, I actually don't belong to what nowadays people say. So
Right.
I always think that networking is transactional in nature. If I my friends, they are not my networks, right? So they are my friends. But for me, and someone to whom I can net my call, someone to whom I can call my network is if I can able to share my knowledge, or they are able to share their knowledge. I like it. It has to be a mutual thing in terms of learning. And if there is no learning in that network, if there is not something I should be inspired you from, and you should be inspired from me
Right.
from, I don't consider that a network. There is a diaspora around the world like that. You should do networking. You should do networking. But if you go to the level, do we really need it? Like, yes, we need it, but it has to be a networking where you can share your stuff, where you can share your knowledge and you can learn a lot from them.
Right.
A normal network, for example, for the sake of networking, people nowadays going to random meets or something. For me, that doesn't make sense much
Right.
to me.
Hmm.
Yeah, for example, if there is a meet from where, if you really think that you can gain some insights and you can actually be the better version of what you were yesterday or before the meet, yes, please go, because that's how life should be, right? But otherwise, other than that, I don't think so. Like, we should be much focused on networking. Just be, you know just know that what are the people around you, and you'll go get along with them. But don't, nowadays everyone says that you should do networking, in MBA also. Yes, you should do, but you should choose the right person to do with.